first day the voter revolt has taken place in our room. We are broadcasting a plan to build a third party every single night. We've been doing this for 6 years, folks. And if you're just tuning in, it's because the American people have been purposely made apathetic that we face so many obstacles to building a third party. It's not our fault. It's not the fault of this group that the true economy is being faked by a very corrupt Federal Reserve. It's not the fault of our nation that the government is trying to inspire racial tension in various cities to create more animosity between the races. It's not our fault that Barack Obama has been running around a buffoon for the past 6 years, unable to gather any consensus among the American people. It's not our fault that all of this has landed in front of us with no resolve from the two parties. Hi, Sarah. Welcome to our show. Till that comes in.
That was a crop circle on the Eastern Star.
That was a crop circle in the background, and we are going to discuss some things that are strange. You know,
hit refresh at the top of the page.
I'll do it.
Thank you.
You know the refresh button for this browser? Right there, thanks. It's so small. The buttons are getting small.
I'm wearing a black sweater with a brown jacket. You can't
really see it.
Black.
Yeah, we're in the dark mode tonight. Well, that's what the ruling is.
How have you been, James?
That's what the ruling seems. Yeah.
The same James.
It said I'm walking, moving fast, stumbling, or full charge.
This is from the actual
In
live
other aspects of this case, the varying descriptions were sometimes provided by the same witnesses in subsequent.
Yeah, see, we're getting a little breakup on the download. We're not sure why. Maybe it's on their end. It's coming out of Ferguson. And I'm sure maybe their upload is being bombarded. So have you heard of we're unable to play the media you selected, see? Have you heard of this? There's a new serious malware that's been around for a long time. It's new, but it's extremely sophisticated.
It's been around for a long time, but it's...
Yeah, it's the malware named Reagan. Let me take a look here. That's weird. Disappeared.
REAGAN?
No, it was on my news today. I was like, wow, did the NSA scrub this
Maybe
too?
You should look at Google News? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go to Google News. I'll do that. It'll be there.
Yes, you might be right, James. Do you think Ferguson is the testing grounds for the elite to get us ready to bring martial law and put us in FEMA camps?
Yeah, well, that's what the conspiracy theory is, that all of these stories are descending from the government, and they're trying to create racial hostility to divide our country. Okay, I'll look it up here. Frightening new malware. It's called the frightening new malware targets your password manager. I think this is the story. They're using techniques, and the government's been using techniques, frightening password, to create malware like Stuxnet, which took down the centrifuges in Iran. This is very similar to Stuxnet in that it's built on a modular structure. Yeah, NSA has installed malware in all households. That's why it's slowing the internet down. That's an interesting theory, Guest 835. Good now, don't be cheap. We're 12. No, we're 5 up and 50 down. We're 5 up and 50 down.
Can you scroll down?
Sure. Okay, if you thought hackers were getting access to just one of your online accounts was troublesome, you'll be terrified to know that the next frontier might put your entire online identity at risk. There's a Citadel Trojan. Okay, that's not the one. This is not the one. Okay, I'll keep looking for the one I'm looking for.
That's pretty interesting. Oh, there it is. Region.
Region, thank you. It's REGIN. I had my spelling wrong. And it's such a new subject that they didn't even batch it together with the word region. Region malware linked to attacks on Belgacom and well-known cryptographers. It's a modular structured malware that hides itself. And
Belgacom.
it's been there in various countries.
What is Belgacom?
Well, we'll find out. After Symantec blew the lid on Reagan on Sunday, computer security experts and companies are revealing information that has led to suspicions that the US and UK are involved. This may very well be the very thing that the NSA installed about 6 years ago in most computer systems. We don't know. Reagan has been known about for years by security companies, but Symantec's white paper on the malware prompted several in the last day to come forward with what they know. So it's been well known, but they haven't talked about it. So clearly this could really point back to the NSA.
Thanks, Alan. Did you ever send us an email? americasthirdparty@gmail.com?
Apparently the software is used to monitor your daily activities. It's like spyware. Not just your purchasing behavior, but your passwords, everything, and where you are, what you're doing. Do you actually know the exact description of all Windows updates? No. The NSA works with Microsoft to hide the NSA programs in those updates. I know my neighbor worked for Microsoft and Intel. So this is a testimony from guest 835. And so you have inside information on this right now. 835 does. Wow. Thank you.
So it's America's Third Party, all spelled out, at gmail.com.
I've not heard of the New World Order freedom fighters. There's new groups formed every day. I can't really say I'm tracking everybody. Are the freedom fighters fighting the New World Order? We've been running a solid battle against the two-party cronyism in our country for 6 years now, and we know that that's part of the New World Order. Whether you acknowledge the New World Order or not, a global world entity is trying to control our country and control our political system. Anyone with a brain will tell you that if we really want to return to our republic, we have to defend our freedoms. And people like Rand Paul are not doing that. He wants drones over our head, 30,000 of them by 2020. And Rand Paul just came out with this new thing, wants to create a war against ISIS. Now, he's obviously the shill that these two people have in play for the Republican ticket for 2016. Rand Paul is making his move, claiming that we have to have a war now against ISIS, which is exactly what the NSA and the CIA want us to do to fulfill the handlers, who basically are people that make money on war. There's no benefit for us attacking Syria or Iraq at this point. There's been no benefit of any of this. We've lost almost $2 trillion, and the government hasn't repaid the American taxpayer for what they wasted. Thank you, 835.
Alan, he said he was a guy that printed all of your signs. He says he was able to post 9 of the signs in his neighbor's yards and windows.
Wow, thank you very much, Alan. You're awesome. Great. Alan is
in Arizona. There's
some people in Arizona, folks. The voter revolt is starting in Arizona. And I'm glad it is because, frankly, Arizona's been the one state battered by Barack Obama in their attempts to deal with all these issues. Bundy Ranch issue came up in the Southwest. That was a terrible government reaction to a couple of people that wanted to preserve their land rights against aliens. And, of course, there's the ongoing problem with immigration that the Supreme Court has overturned, where the Border Patrol will not work directly with the state police in deporting people out of the state of Arizona. So yeah, Arizona needs a third party, and every other state is going to need a third party come 2016. So I'm glad we're starting there. At this point, the government has become detached from what the people want it to be. Now, whether you believe in democracy and or the republic that we are guaranteed by our Constitution, I believe both can begin to coexist. It's not a guarantee it's going to work, but I do believe in a supermajority democracy of 2/3. Unlike Democrats who believe there should be democracy with 51% of the population voting against 49%, I argue that that is mobocracy. That's not in any way like the original tenet of democracy that Andrew Jackson supported, as well as the Jeffersonian ideals promoted in our country. So if we are going to morph into a better country, we're going to have to listen to the people, but adhere to the laws of the land. And that's where a third party can come in strong. I'm a fiscal conservative and former Democrat, and you could call me a social liberal if you want. It's not a bad word in my opinion, but it's because I have an ear to the people that are concerned about the decay of our nation's morals. And I do listen to those people's concerns. I am concerned. We talked about school prayer. I don't support school prayer, but I wouldn't mind school meditation time. Seriously, I would not mind putting together a 3-minute meditation for kids in classrooms. So if it means school prayer, I mean, yeah, you could pray to yourself in the closet, like Matthew 6:6 says, if you're a religious person.
Officer Wilson, according to a few people in chat, Officer Wilson will not be charged. It's a crime.
All right, I got to ban this person because anyone who says something in any way demoralizing in our show, to us or to any of our supporters, is absolutely worthless to our cause. So we ban them. Anyone who comes in here, craps in here, let me ask you, if you had a bathroom full of crap, wouldn't you flush the toilet? That's what we have to do sometimes. Never book your flights online. The NSA keeps track of those, everyone's locations. The NSA installs updates to travel agencies. Yeah. Well, this is the thing everyone's realizing. Everything we do is being watched by the NSA.
We can always say hi, just like we say hi to you, Alan.
Well, we can say hi to all their names.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Alan.
So as long as their names aren't...
Hey, keep coming back in and saying I have no chance because my chances grow every day. I've looked at the long-term projection for a third party in 2016. I know that we're going to be heard in the mainstream media by 2016. I know that. I predict it will happen. It's going to take a long pathway to get there, but whether I am even on the ballot in enough states in 2016 remains to be seen right now. But I do believe that the third party will be coming with a gusto once the real economy starts rearing its ugly face to the American people. So many people are living the lie right now. I do not in any way take any money whatsoever from the U.S. government. I am not on the dole. So you are completely wrong. I'm going to, that's demoralizing to me because I don't believe in taking government money if I don't need it. I'm a true patriotic American and do this every night except for Sundays, and have been doing it for 6 years because I really believe that this country needs an alternative view to get out there in the mainstream media. But a lot of you people think you could be like little crabs crawling out of a bucket, pulling each crab down and thinking that you're going to take me down with you. Well, I'm sorry, but I've already reached the edge of the lip of the bucket and I'm on my way outside the hot boiling water that's frying all the crabs in America. Pretty soon we'll have crab soup and all the people will be mental mush and we'll basically be running around. It's kind of like the slow boil of a frog. You don't know the water is heating up, but once it's hot enough, it kills the frog. So I am basically crabs, frogs, use your whatever analogy you want. I'm basically trying to get out of that bowl of mindless mediocrity that so many people have fallen into. And you can too by simply becoming a part of our third party. At this point, I need to know the people I'm going to be working with directly, so I'm not making any commitments as to exactly who's going to be on my cabinet, but any one of you who supports our administration will become part of our administration. We'll make you an officer in the government at some level working. We'll make all of you, give you a purpose working in the government if you really want to get behind this party. It's no different than any other party that way. Where we are different, however, is we want to create bylaws that will prevent the quid pro quo paybacks that goes on in politics where people get donations and do things for people. We won't allow that in our party. We also support term limits, 2 terms for senators and 4 terms for congressmen, representatives. We also support election reform. So you won't get any of that with a two-party system, ever. So if people want to work with me, simply send your app to americasthirdparty@gmail.com. All right, it's a foregone conclusion that many of these people who are involved in the Ferguson debate are just pundits. They're just people that you see every day, 35 people every day on TV. The same people, same faces every day talking about the same things. And today I was watching an interview with a couple people, Sean Hannity and Mike Rowe. And Mike Rowe is really kind of hilarious. He was wondering why so many people are unemployed in America when there's plenty of jobs out there. And then he said, well, there's 92 million people unemployed. Seriously. I mean, and I have to ask, and I tweeted this today, with 6% unemployment, how can we have 92 million people unemployed? And it belies the deeper question, why is the unemployment stat fake? Because it's designed to make us think that we're doing well, that the economy is doing great. And Mike Rowe is standing there acting like Mr. Tough Guy, ready to, get people out there and start working. And I was quite shocked that the guy doesn't realize that there's only 3 million opportunities, and most of them are part-time working at McDonald's or at the procurement center at Amazon.com. I mean, it's a joke. Yet these people are put out there, these pundits are put out there to pretend like they have it all under control, and we the people need to go out and work for a minimum wage to get our lives together. And that's the Republican way. That all of us should go out and get exploited and work our fingers to the bone so that these people can say, well, at least we got people working. And Sean Hannity, he might as well go play football because he has absolutely no journalistic capacity whatsoever. He wouldn't know an investigative journalistic move if he was staring him at the face. This guy doesn't ask any questions. He's basically part of the same problem the two parties are part of. They're all bought off. That's my premise. Well, I do a good Mike Rowe because I look a lot like Mike Rowe. I should get a hat. Let me go get a hat and I'll do Mike Rowe.
Okay. I think you need to go hang out somewhere else. Some people. I guess David was looking at the news on Bing. I haven't done a lot of news on Bing. I don't need this. Taking this. My life is going really well. Everything's going very well. Do you think anyone that wants to should run for president as long as they meet the constitutional requirements? No, Jet, not that I know of.
Yeah, he is a hard-working man. And he's wondering why all you people are sitting around on your couch in your mom's basement doing nothing. And he wonders why you aren't getting a job like he gets. Because he doesn't have to work anymore. He made all that money on that dirty job show, I mean, hey, yeah, he's Mr. Man. And he's wondering why you can't be a man, too. Thank you. All right, well, a lot of you decided not to work because you realized that it was a waste of your time when you could collect free social welfare. Real simple, yeah. And I don't blame you one bit for collecting food stamps. 47.5 million people now on food stamps. I remind you, well, thank you. A lot of people remind me of Mike Rowe. You're watching HD porn. Okay, well, see, you don't even want to work. All you want to do is do that. Well, it's not free for a lot of taxpayers, James. That's the problem with the system we got right now. You think Mike's balding? Is that why he wears a hat all the time? And I don't understand why he looks older than I do when I'm like older than he is. What's he doing that I'm not doing? Because I feel like I'm not even aging, and the guy's looking like an old man now. You're touching yourself? Okay. You're balding? Well, that's okay, James. You can't help it. Just go with it. That's a lie, and I'll tell you, I've got more testosterone than Mike Rowe. To boot. Yeah. The problem with that guy is he's in there working because he's got a little bean head. My brain is about half bigger than Mike Rowe's. If you look at our brain pan, mine is another 50% larger. I had to enlarge this hat to its maximum capacity to put it on. All right, so we're going to talk about
video of a very rare fish.
I heard about this very rare fish. Let's wait for the advertisement.
Seconds.
Go ahead. Copy the screen.
What excites me about taking photos, or what gets me? I love beauty in the everyday.
I know. Advertising everywhere. I'm getting ready to go into my prime for 8 years in the White House. You're right. Okay, this is anglerfish.
Why can't I do that? Why does it always do that? It doesn't let me take the video itself.
Deep-sea anglerfish
Well,
are
let's just close
strange
in on
and
it.
elusive creatures
Yeah, go
that
ahead.
are very rarely observed
just
in their
did
natural
that.
habitat.
And that's
Fewer
what it
than half a
does.
dozen
Yeah.
have ever been captured on film or video by deep diving
Wow,
research.
that's pretty cool.
This little angler, about 9 centimeters long, is named Melanocetus. It
Melanocetus.
is also known as the Black Sea Devil, and it lives in the deep, dark waters of the Monterey Canyon.
Yep.
We believe that this is the first video
that.
footage ever made of this species,
Cool.
alive and at depth.
Wow.
Anglers have a remarkable apparatus on their heads, a fishing pole with a luminous lure at the tip, which
You know, I remember swimming in Monterey, and one of those grabbed my foot and tried to haul me down, and I kicked it. And I got it out of my way, and I managed to get to the surface just in time to realize that it was a conspiracy. A conspiracy against people that swim in Monterey. This isn't a real fish. I mean, how could a fish be this ugly? All right.
they use to attract their prey. In the darkness of deep water, they flash the light to attract and draw them near the angler's mouth. When a fish or a squid swims up, it is quickly inhaled by the angler's huge mouth and trapped by a teeth. Given the shape of this angler's body, it's pretty clearly not designed for speed. Instead, these are ambush predators, lurking in the darkness to grab. Another thing we can tell from the shape of the body is that this is a female. In this species, the males are much smaller, and they lack the fishing pole and lure. Males are ill-equipped for feeding, and their sole responsibility appears to be to find a female and mate with her as soon.
Boy, that sounds like the human race. Their sole responsibility is to find a female and mate with her as soon as possible. Yeah, I can't
Here,
possibly.
I'll do
You
this.
handle it. Let's just erase it all. Wow. I'm back. It does look like something like that. Yeah, you're right. Maybe the government will make Maine make Maine be summer all time. Super Dave, what's your obsession with Maine? You want the government to somehow tilt the earth on its axis so it gets warmer where you are? Yeah. Could we just change the nature of the sun? That'd be great. The oblowfish. The Michelle Oblowfish. That's pretty funny, mofo. Well, that's one of the many problems with our nation right now is we've got a lot of difference of opinion, but it's always herded in one direction or the other, either Democrat or Republican. And the problem is most people are in the center of the political spectrum, and that's why we wanted to start a third party, and we still want to start this third party, and we're 100% FEC compliant. We've never made any money doing this. All donations go into a separate bank account. We don't touch it for personal use. And it all goes back to building this entire program, to build a political party in the center of the political spectrums that would help the American people find solutions where their government officials have been unable. Now, we've seen election after election where they continue to bicker back and forth and play the American people, promising them one thing or another and never delivering. And this recent thing where the Keystone Pipeline was not passed by the Republican-led Congress shows you how impotent, not important, but rather impotent, Congress has become and the two-party system has become. In over 5 years, we haven't seen a budget from these imbeciles. They can't even put pen to paper. They can't even get anything down on print. And if we had a pay-as-you-go policy where we did stay within the budget, we wouldn't see these big military contractors fanning the flame of war and looking for more war in Syria. They'd be realizing, hey, we better cut back because we really can't afford to go launch a nuclear war against another country. All right. We're not talking about the riots now. There's no riots going on. The whole thing is, the only revolt that we're proposing is one on the ballot. The voters need to decide we need a new direction. Now, they've already decided with their vote that the Republicans should win the midterm election in 2014, and that's a great thing. I'm glad they did something. The voters are speaking. They are. They're trying to get their word out. But they're throwing their hopes in the Republican Party, and believe me, it's just like expecting George W. Bush to save the environment. Or expecting Barack Obama to end war because he can't. His handlers want him to get more war. The people running our two-party system want war. It's obvious. Obama's about to make a comment on Ferguson. Well, it's about time. He's about 6 weeks too late. All right, I'm going to go to get some coffee and I'll be right back. You can get to know Sarah. She's my vice presidential choice for the 2016 election. And she is a wonderful person who can speak very, very succinctly to you in a logical manner. If you have any questions about our political party or anything at americasthirdparty.com, you can ask her to...
Defer to David.
No, just ask her
to defer to David.
Ask her anything and she's got all the answers. Okay.
So a fire damaged a 750-year-old oak tree in Poland. People think someone set it on fire, and I sure hope that survives. Or oak tree. The poles are melting from the inside out, meaning the core. Like that. Core is shifting. I want to be the Secretary of Economics. I'm not making any promises. Oh. I have no idea how David turned down the microphone, but of course I need the loudest microphone that I can, but it's because David turned the volume down all the way. So now there should be audio. Do you predict the weight of the buildup? Actually, if I'm the sun and it's tilted like this, if I'm the sun and this is the earth, say, and the angle of the earth's like this, it's like this part of the year, and then it goes around the back of my head, which I can't do, and then it's like this. So the angle, the tilt never changes. The tilt is always at that 23-degree tilt, right? But it's tilted there, so when it's over here, this tilt would be the South Pole, this would be the North Pole, this would be winter or December, this would be December, this would be June. Okay, so the tilt is closer to the sun during the summer. The top of the world is closer to the sun during the summer, and then this is like spring where they're both even. Okay, it's more like toward the middle of the sun, and then over here the South Pole is closer to the sun. I'm so glad. I will check my email right now to make sure it went through. I'm glad you're excited. That makes me excited. Is it like, oh, you learned something, Super Dave? I hope so. I know, because I have to say, even I did not learn that until I was in college. About it's always the same distance from the sun, but the tilt is closer to the sun. It all has to do with the tilt of the earth.
Right, so I want everybody to know that you can go to davidsponheim.com and download this video, this picture right here. And you can print it out at Office Max for 33 cents on 11 by 17.
Or if you know another printer and have some free paper, you can print it out yourself at home.
These signs are designed to be cheap but effective. And we've got color ones on our site, davidsponheim.com. You can print up for $1.33 or, like I said, 33 cents a piece on cardstock, 11 by 17. We'll give you a link in just a bit. Thank you. davidsponheim.com. But the whole campaign, the voter revolt, is really sparked by the concept that people just are fed up with the two parties, period. Whether you are Republican or Democrat or are Republican or are Democrat, surely you must realize that there's something not right. with our country and the way it's been being controlled. You are probably just upset that your opinion isn't getting heard. And that seems to be the common thread that I hear among the people that I talk to every day. We do have bumper stickers. I'm updating the bumper stickers at our site. It's not quite ready yet, but the text was reversed. Okay. That's because I think the screen was reversed. Yeah. I think we need to flip our screen around here.
Okay,
Hang
how
on.
do I do that? You do that.
No, I'll do that. It's just a layout issue. There you go. Ta-da! Thank you. Real simple signs. It's a descendant of my primary that I ran where I got over 4,200 votes here in Washington State. And this kind of a sign was done for the primary, and every single time they were put up, my competitors took them down. Now that's not going to happen in your area because not every state is corrupt. Washington State happens to be very corrupt, very strong Democratic group of corrupt people. And I believe that they don't even understand what a third party is in this state. So we're doing everything we can to generate awareness for a third party, but the Democrats have total control of Washington, Oregon, and California. It's a foregone conclusion. It's going to take a lot to move this area that we're living in. But across the nation, this resurgence of independent thinkers, people that want to have an independent party, like a reform party or a centrist party, anything is better than the two parties. That awareness is growing day by day across the nation. So it's not just going to happen locally, believe me. It's got to happen globally first or nationally first before we can get a foothold locally.
So this guy, he canvassed his neighborhood.
He did? Wow.
And
that's
he
great.
asked neighbors, will you post this sign? Can we post this sign in your yard?
Yeah.
Or maybe your window. And one guy said, well, if I post the sign, would you? And he told him about your show.
Yeah.
And he says, well, if I post the sign, will you mention me on his show?
Absolutely, yeah.
And he said, sure. And so I'm not going to give last names right now, unless these people do want last names, only because,
right,
like, we've had, people find our information through, tracing our last names and things like that. So I'm going to say their first names: Lewis, Burton, Virgil, and Cecil. Thank you very much for allowing Alan to post signs, and thank you for posting signs in your windows and in your homes.
Thank you very much, Lewis, Burton, Virgil, and Cecil. Thank you very much.
And if they do come in another day, we'll be glad to thank them then as well. And Alan, I want to thank you. I give a big shout out to Alan for not only printing the signs, but also going and talking to his neighbors about
canvassing his neighbors. Yeah, if some of you know your neighbors, this is a great opportunity to tell them about a brand new third party.
And if you don't know your neighbors, this is a great way to get to know them.
I started talking about my political views with my neighbor a long, long time ago. And I'm glad I did, because about 6 months ago, the newscast from Seattle went to my house. And I wasn't there at the time. I was actually filming a commercial in the backyard. They didn't bother to walk around the house. But they walked over to my neighbor and started asking him questions about me. And asking him if something I had done 6 years ago was somehow racist. And my neighbor stood up for me. He said, hey, no, America is all about free speech. And he's defended me. Well, consequently, the news channel, Cairo TV here in Seattle, never ever played that interview with my neighbor. Never, ever played the interview with me. They don't want a story that doesn't imply that somebody's a racist. I'm not a racist. I've never said a racist slur in my life, but they want to target me as a racist just to get rid of me. This is what they want to do with third-party candidates. They want to vilify them and get rid of them and target them and use every means possible to stop them, because they're that fearful, these two parties, of losing power. They only care about power. They don't care about representing the people that get them voted. Once they're voted in, believe me, they're all about the money. About the money. Not the people. All about the money. About the money. Time for the parody? Okay. Let's play the parody video of Obama Ebola. After Sarah's done writing. I do. I remember you every single show, Rally. I remember I banned you yesterday, and I unbanned you today. So don't keep asking me if you remember me. Okay, basically what happened in Ferguson, in my opinion, was all hype. And it was designed to create racial strife in America without solving the problem. Guest 715, see what Guest 715 says? Lee Stoll loves to defame you at the media luncheons, David. Bring it. You guys get a video camera of that. Send me the tape, and I will use it against her for anti-defamation. If she's engaged in defamation of character, I have a court case against her, pending, if indeed you get me video. But with this hearsay, I can't really pursue that. If you got video of her doing it openly, blatantly, absolutely. I'll get her for slander. Rioting in Los Angeles, there's groups of people around the country that are trying to trigger rioting around the nation. This is all by design. Everything that's been going on right now has been by design. They couldn't do it with Zimmerman and Trayvon Martin, even though there's countless other cases where blacks and whites were interacting across the country.
Go ahead.
They're trying to do it every which way they can. They're trying to start the very groundwork of rebellion in our country. The American people don't want to rebel, and the elitists don't understand why. Meanwhile, they're fluoridating us to the point where we're kind of like complacent, and they're like, well, whatever, you know. These people who are in control of our nation are stupid. They don't even understand what they're doing. They're playing with fire, but they're not playing with fire.
Virgil's in the room tonight, right there.
Hey, there's Virgil. How are you? Thanks for giving me credit, and thanks to Alan. Yeah, excellent. Alan's starting a movement in Arizona. I really appreciate his efforts.
Definitely.
Okay, I'm going to play you a video that I just produced at my YouTube site.
Which one?
This one. And it's called Obama Ebola.
Okay.
And I'm going to play that, and then Sarah can take a break. And I'm just going to do this show because I want to show you how complicated.
Your videos that you put time and effort into.
Well, it's very complicated what's going on right now in America. It really is. What we don't realize is the country's being led in different directions. And what I did was I did a 3-minute dance video that hasn't gotten a lot of hits on YouTube because none of the tags are being referenced by YouTube itself. All my tags are being shut down. We are trying to get our word out there, but the NSA controlled Google or YouTube is using every means possible to stop any direct references or cross references to our YouTube videos. 3 years ago, I was getting 20,000 hits a week on my videos. Now I'm getting hardly any. I'm just telling you, they are in control. And I'm going to show you this video is designed to make you think about what's happening with Barack Obama and all these things he's doing to our country. Let me cue it up for you and play you the 3-minute video. I started thinking about how dangerous Ebola was. And I'm at the belief now that maybe they're creating a fear of Ebola just to justify a vaccine. I'm beginning to think that that's the case. So this is the video. It's at this page if you want to look at it. I'll give you the link separately. But it's interesting, and it's a thought provoker, and I want you to watch this, and then we will go from there.
Obama.
Bear with me, I gotta cue this up. I'm having a little problem with the screen grab. Yeah. It seems to be happening all the time. Yeah, it's this screen problem with XSplit is an ongoing problem.
Maybe it's that browser we're using.
I got it. It took me. I'd be quick on the trigger finger. Okay, this is an impersonation video and a dance video that I did. Here we go.
Obama, cannot stop Ebola from infecting you, no matter what you do.
we sent 4,000 troops into Liberia to get contaminated and bring it back home. So listen, my brothers and sisters, we're on the verge of the apocalypse. So it's time to open your eyes to the blindness that surrounds you. Well, make no mistake about it. Let's be clear. I'll do anything for money. I'll support the World Bank by starting wars. I'll seed Muslim revolutions in 6 nations. And now I learned a new thing. Surgical strikes work. We're talking Tunisia, Libya, Yemen, Egypt, Syria, and Ukraine. I could even piss off Putin. So let's just trigger World War III. We're broke. Insane. Obama's. Yeah, surgical strikes work. So now I got my handlers in my back pocket. What's next? Ground troops, of course. Those men will lose their lives in vain. It's just a bump in the road. We did it with Benghazi. Let's just blame it on a movie. Disarmament is my goal. We'll do it with gun control. We'll put it in a bag. By creating false flags. Did I mention Ebola? Let's let all infected Africans into America. Let's put Obamacare to work. It's the politically correct thing to do. You want to change? You got it. And then some. Remember I told you things were going to get worse before they get better? In fact, they're never going to get better. I'll make sure of that.
Obama, cannot stop Ebola from infecting you. No matter what you do, it's always up to you to be free of misery. This is your destiny.
Sure. What about the economy? It's not a recovery. It's a recover-up. Having overspent by $6.66 trillion, I fulfilled my goal of bankrupting this nation. Now, I'm getting all my ducks in line. We're almost ready to declare martial law and send everyone to the FEMA camps for safety. It's the politically correct thing to do.
Obama, I think he's the nurses that treated Ebola. Said it's safe to do.
I shook hands with, hugged, and kissed. Not the doctors, but a couple of the nurses.
Yeah. Let's trigger World War III. Come on, everybody. Do the politically correct thing. Let's trigger World War III. We can't print money fast enough to cover the interest on our debt. And it gets worse. With all this money, we've been able to buy up all the social networks. Heck, the NSA is watching you. And you don't even care. And that's okay. It's the politically correct thing to do. So sit back, do nothing, and watch me destroy America. I'm so glad I succeeded at something.
Okay. Yeah. That was the video. Thank you for watching it. Somebody said I need to run more, and you know, the camera you gain 20 pounds in the camera. Believe it or not. I don't know if it's a wide angle lens, but I am 225 pounds and 6'4", and believe me, if I got thinner, I would not be as strong as I am. Being I'm very, very strong, thank you, I have the ability to defend myself big time. And that's kind of my attitude toward this country. We're a very, very strong country. Sure, we're a little fat if you look at it, you know, from that perspective. Yeah, when you're a big guy, you carry a little extra weight. You know, I'm naturally a little bit, probably I've got more than 20% body fat on my body at any given time. But I mean, I'm still a very strong guy. Did I say 20%? I meant 5, I'm sorry. Okay, the blacks are really upset. Okay, they're unable to understand right from wrong. What? Well, Blobcat, you're coming from a perspective that you think people should accept the fact that unarmed people in cities should be racially profiled and shot in the back? Is that what you're saying? What are the rumors, Gordon? Blackface version 2 is in the editing bay right now. I never said I was going to release Blackface version 2 after the original 3-hour October 31st video until I was done with it. And I'm in the process of finishing it. I've got another 3-minute dance video coming. Yeah, it was a 3-hour show I did, very riveting, on Halloween. And it was just a Halloween show, you know, with me doing blackface. But it was designed to parody the president, not in any way upset other people who are black. I was never intending to do that. I never intended to do that my entire life. Dancing with no legs is perfectly normal. There are a lot of people who are basket cases that love to dance in their wheelchairs. What? Let's move on. If we should shut them down for Ebola, well, the thing is, Raleigh, we're not going to lose any major business from flights from Africa if we were to eliminate flights from Africa. It's not a huge contributor to the overall profit of airline industries. Many of them are flying people from Africa into our country secretly. Believe it or not. There are people moving, there are airplane pilots that are required as part of their shift to move illegal aliens into our country. And I'm not really sure why I would even think that unless somebody actually confirmed it and said it right in front of me. And in a video, we saw a person who actually testified to that last week on Conspiracy Monday. We actually played that video for you, where a guy claimed he was required to carry illegal aliens and not even report their identities and land them here in the United States. What I argue is that our country, especially with this recent ruling by Barack Obama to allow 5 million illegals to get work visas, that recent ruling is just part of a big, huge overall barrage against the American people, against the country. It's designed to weaken our nation and turn us into basically people, citizens who don't get any services themselves because the illegal aliens are getting those services. Now, I met a couple from Phoenix, Arizona, a couple years ago that said that there was a big protest out in front of the hospital there among U.S. citizens saying, hey, we have to pay $500 to $1,000 at the ER, but illegals, they get it for free. So why would we allow that? Well, these people in Phoenix were really upset, but they weren't getting any help from their officials, their leaders. They weren't standing up. All right. Let's talk about Ebola versus the flu. Rally, let's not and please don't repeat things in the show because we see your first statement. You don't have to keep repeating them. Thank you. This regular flu kills thousands every year? Sure. We can compare the difference. I'm not here to fan the flame of fear about Ebola. I'm really not. I don't necessarily believe that they even had the number of cases in Liberia that they're claiming they have, over 5,000. I was very, very distrustful when I heard that World Health Organization said by January there's going to be 1 million people with Ebola. At this point, I don't believe anything I'm seeing from the Obama administration. And I don't think Chuck Hagel did either. That's why he's leaving.
Mr. President, my name is Scott Jones, and I'm the Sheriff of Sacramento County, California, one of the largest sheriff's departments in the country, and a constituency of over 1.4 million people. 2 weeks ago today, I had the unfortunate distinction of burying one of my deputies. His name was Danny Oliver, and he was shot a single time in the head during a casual encounter with the suspect. During the ensuing manhunt that day, another deputy from nearby Placer County was also shot and killed by him. In his rampage, he carjacked several people at gunpoint. He shot or shot at several other officers and shot an innocent civilian in the face. Why am I telling you this? Because this person is in this country illegally from Mexico. He has a significant criminal history, and on at least 4 prior occasions he was removed from this country, each time having no consequences for his actions. And while I'm not going to overly dramatize this plea by attributing his death to you or to anybody else, I am going to implore you to address an issue that only you can address: immigration reform. And while Congress as a body, both Democrats and certainly Republicans, share the blame for their failure in this part, only you are singularly responsible for the hands-off policy that exists in Homeland Security and its subsidiaries, including Customs and Border Protection. Mr. President, they don't need a raise to improve morale in that organization. They need to be allowed to do their jobs and carry out their mission to keep America safe.
Right.
Likewise, you are the only person that can impress upon Congress the urgency of reform.
Okay.
Cricket Wireless, we think you shouldn't have to worry about adding up all the taxes and fees to your monthly bill. That's why our plan started just
Okay, we're getting we're having a few problems with certain types of Shockwave, their businessman, and it basically locks up some of our browsers. And I don't know, that Ustream may be a live feed from Ferguson. Thank you, and I thank you for the article too that came in, that video that came in from Sacramento, the police department. Illegals are causing a massive problem across the country, and this is becoming an epidemic of epidemic nature, and our country isn't resolved at all in how to deal with it. And what many people don't understand is the Ferguson Police Department, like many police departments, they don't have any guidance whatsoever from the top. Even the government of Michigan was very, very unable to resolve the problem quickly enough to prevent the unrest. But I almost believe that the unrest was coming directly from other sources. The Reverend Al Sharpton group of people that want to foment the problem. But getting back to the illegal immigration issue, which is far more important and acute in the southern areas of this country, we have a growing problem that is just going to get bigger and bigger. Now that Obama said 5 million people get a work visa, you're going to see 5 million people on top of that gather at the border relatively soon. And I'm very sorry that the people of Arizona and Nevada and California have to deal with that. I would never have allowed that. As president, I would have given people an alternative called the Fast Track Naturalization Plan, which I believe could very well give people a chance to get citizenship in their home country at the U.S. Embassy. And they'd have to pay a fee to do that. And they'd have to take the 6-question test there. We'd even give them a free class in English if necessary. All right, let me take the Ferguson Live story from Ustream again. We'll see if that works. Thanks, Drama Police. We're seeing if it works. The Shockwave has been very unstable on a couple of browsers lately.
2 medium cappuccinos!
Let's show them what a breakfast with whole grain fiber can do.
1 coffee with room, 1 large mocha latte. Medium macchiato, light hot chocolate, hold the whip, 2 espresso. Make 1 double.
She's full and focused.
I have 2 cappuccinos, 1 coffee with room, 1 large mocha latte, a medium macchiato, a light hot chocolate, hold the whip, and 2 espressos, 1 with a double shot.
That's not the coffee talking.
Start your day with Kellogg's Frosted Mini Wheat Cereal. With whole wheat goodness on one side and a hint of sweetness on the other, it's a delicious way to get the nutrition you want.
Nope, see? It crashed. Crashed again. That's all it's been doing, is crashing. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know if other people are having this problem in the room, but I've been having it all over the place on the internet. There's a number of people on the internet that are complaining about it. David, you next to me, you'd be giant, really? 6'4", I'd be really tall, and you'd be like you're around 5 feet. Okay. My coworkers are texting me saying they are going to tear the crap out of that town. Really? Orange chocolate? I don't know. I don't really necessarily think that these claims of riots in Los Angeles are true either. That's part of the reason why I don't believe. Are you watching the Ferguson stream, Drama Police, and same with you, businessman? David, you made a claim that World Health Organization says 1 million people will be affected by Ebola by January. Link to the statement, please. I've got to have to search that link for you. If you'd like, I'll Google it for you. I'll take the time, Rally, to do that just for you, okay? Okay, here we go. These are questions and answers from the CDC. You can refer to that. All right, moving on. Obama's statement in a nutshell. Okay. Yeah, another crash. It's Shockwave, I'm telling you. There's been a problem with the Shockwave across the nation. We've been having problems with multiple browsers. It's not just the one we're using right now. I can't play it. Now, I can start up another computer and play it there, but what's the point? Yeah, well, yes, we've updated our Flash player. Yep. 2 weeks ago, Shockwave presented with all these problems. And I went on looking on Firefox and Chrome and Internet Explorer sites, and everyone's having problems with it. Yeah, I didn't have to give you a WHO link. The CDC can give you updates. But if you'd like, sure. I'll give you a New York Times link referencing the story. Okay? How about that? There you go. Well, maybe so. It's possible somebody's messing with our shockwave system from internally. I can't tell you if the NSA doesn't reside within my computer. Well, you can read the story, and it's a CDC statement that emanated from an original WHO statement, but I don't spend my time working closely with the World Health Organization. So all I can tell you is I can recite information I have heard, and you can trace it down from there. Any further discussion, I will ban you. All right, great. How accurate the estimates using corrected data? They're only estimates. Oh, I know. Well, the point is, Cool JD, I don't even believe the story is real. I don't even believe a word the World Health Organization says or the CDC says. My argument is they're trying to foment a fear of a need, creating a need for a vaccination, a fear of getting Ebola. People are going to want to vaccinate. So they're already preparing a vaccination that will be dispensed. It's going to be a hybridized Ebola and rabies vaccine that will somehow be offered to the American people, and God knows what it's going to do. So, who are you? Who? Yeah, are you autistic, Raleigh? Do you have autism? I'm just going to ask you randomly. Do you suffer from autism? I know, and we found out from the Ragin virus malware that they've had their fingers in computers for over 6 years. I know. Well, I certainly hope that people are on my back. I wouldn't be doing my job if people weren't looking into everything they could to help this nation. Yeah, so I don't trust any of the estimates I'm getting from the CDC or the World Health Organization. There's a strong conspiracy theory out there that the potential spread of this virus, the Ebola virus, has been faked. That even a guy in New York City was caught grabbing money for putting his son out there on the street convulsing, pretending he had Ebola for the cameras. And the guy was caught on camera walking away with a bundle full of cash. So a lot of things are happening here. Yep. Nothing plays on my site. Yeah. It's a real problem. We've been unable to figure out exactly how to stop it. There may be corruption within our system that we may have to do a system restore, because it started happening a week ago, and now it's happening with this browser. All right. Doesn't really matter, does it? I can't even see that page, Super Dave. Sarah leaves because she doesn't want me to actually...
I'll be right there.
She doesn't want me to actually do the dance video while she's in the room. Sarah does not approve of me doing any impersonations of Barack Obama. And I feel that it's my free speech, and I did it because I needed to get a point across. But it doesn't in any way divide us, much like issues of conspiracies don't divide us. Sarah and I see different things. It's perspectives. We all have different perspectives. Even though we can all agree that we need a third party, many of us don't really agree as to why we need a third party. Seriously. So that's kind of a point at which we kind of say, well, we agree to disagree on a couple issues. She, of course, doesn't believe that Sandy Hook was fake. Many people in America, probably close to 20 or 30 million people in America, think that Sandy Hook was faked. I tend to believe that Sandy Hook was faked. That they put Sandy Hook out there and the whole story of Adam Lanza just doesn't add up. Adam Lanza was actually under surveillance back in 2004. His whole life was being watched by the NSA. And I have a link to that at americasthirdparty.com's link library. if you go to our main site, you can go to our link library, and I can actually give you the link right now, so it'll save you some time. My link isn't correct? Okay. Well, I'm going to the link library over here on our website. And by the way, we do support legalization of marijuana. It's a prominent part of our campaign. Sarah's never smoked marijuana in her entire life, but I really believe it's going to be beneficial for our nation economically. And I think people are moving in that direction. So to get to the link library, you hit that link button. And then to search for, say, Adam Lanza. In my links, I go there. And we've got all kinds of stories about Adam Lanza. That's weird. My story's been pulled out. No kidding. That's another weird anomaly. Yeah.
Go back into your where from your.
Well, I've been able to access this for some time, and now, oh, here we go. Take a look. Here it is. This is the article. Hopefully it'll be there. There it is. Okay, the FBI officers went to Adam Lanza's home in 2004 to ask him how he hacked through 2 layers of government security, but his mom told him he's a computer whiz who's just testing himself. Yeah. So they were on his radar, or he was on their radar back in 2004. So the whole death of Adam Lanza and what he did, this guy looked like he could barely even hold the gun, let alone fire it. That got me suspicious. The fact that there were no bodies shown to the parents, they never got to see their kids' bodies. They never even got to talk to the cameras. There were only about 3 parents that talked to the cameras. And those 3 parents sounded a little bit fake. So that kind of got people thinking about Sandy Hook. And then it took, 12 months, 11 months for the state police in Connecticut to present the actual police report. That was weird. And then when it did arrive, there was actually no blood evidence presented inside the school. And then just a little bit later, they had the school demolished. So they're literally trying to wipe the whole thing clean and move on to the next false flag event to trigger gun control in America. Right after Sandy Hook, by the way, Connecticut passed laws that required registration. A lot of people were standing in line. Now, I know a lot of you people in the Midwest, the Southwest, you support gun rights. I support gun rights. That's what makes me a lot better than the Democrats, I assure you. But there had been lines out in front of Connecticut to create an impression that people are like standing in front of Dachau or Treblinka, waiting to go to the, to be registered, to talk to the police force. So the whole Adam Lanza thing turned into kind of a weird side trip. There's even weird questions about why Adam Lanza's keys were in this photograph. This was presented as one of the pieces of evidence, and well, if those were the keys to his actual car, how would he use his car if he'd gone down there and then somebody said, well, he had a second pair of keys? There was no evidence of Nancy Lanza's body in any of the particular photos that the Connecticut police revealed. Not one stitch of blood evidence in the Lanza home. Yet the American people are supposed to sit back and believe all this crap and just go, oh, okay, yeah, sure, that happened. Just like we're supposed to believe that Osama bin Laden died May 2nd, 2011. I mean, how absurd is that? We've never seen a picture of his dead body. Oh, well, we wouldn't want to show a picture of his dead body because that would trigger a revolution. Well, excuse me, but aren't they creating a revolution with ISIS now? It's just absurd. So do they really believe that the American people are brain dead? They must. They must believe that we're all absolute imbeciles, and the ones who aren't imbeciles, they'll just get rid of and kill. But this is not the same Osama bin Laden. This is not the same guy. There's no way. maybe the morph of the two, maybe, but similar features. I'll give you that. But the nose is different. The nose on this guy is definitely a little bit wider. His lips are perky, like, whereas Osama bin Laden's lips were much wider, like this. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to illustrate. I'm not trying to make fun of anybody. David, do you have a backup of all videos of your David Sponheim? Or if you're not, you should start an archive in case the troll hijacks or your videos removed. Yes, we have a complete video backup of every single video we've ever produced, including show. But I don't want to go into detail about a guy with a missing picture of his dead body. I could simply say, well, what happened off the Carl Vinson when they threw his body into the Arabian Sea, the North Arabian Sea? Why didn't anyone on that aircraft carrier have a camera to take a picture of the body being thrown overboard? This is who's leading our country, everybody. That's the guy who's leading our country. That's the real person leading our country. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to make you understand you got a real weirdo running our country. And the sad part about it is he's not even the one in charge. He's just a puppet. Yeah, the Kenyan Barack Obama who's never been able to present a birth certificate that makes any sense and has been looked at scientifically by anybody. And I've talked personally with Doug Vogt on the radio, on our radio show, if you listen to our archives. He said emphatically, he filed a 47-page brief with the FBI saying this is a forgery, this document that was presented just 2 weeks before Osama bin Laden was allegedly killed. But no, this guy is he's a real flake of a president, and you could have easily found that out if you just did a little research on him, but unfortunately we're not allowed to do any research on him. Pictures of these kind of things have popped up of his early days as a homosexual at Occidental. Everybody have checked this whole lifestyle of his out. They know for a fact he's gay. It's not a big deal that he's gay or that he's married to a woman that looks like a man. That's irrelevant. What really matters is that we've been lied to. He even admitted he smoked crack in Occidental College in his book Audacity of Hope. Even the books Audacity of Hope and Dreams from My Father seem like they were written by somebody else, which is illegal. You're not allowed to pen your name to a book and claim it's yours when you had somebody else write it. I am pro-legalization, but I'm not pro-flaky gay president, bi-curious transgender first lady, but I am pro-legalization. And ironically, Barack Obama has recently claimed he smoked marijuana most of his adult life, but he won't even legalize it. You see the disconnect? Barack Obama. Huge disconnect. Huge. So it's not, I really don't have a problem personally with his sexual preference. I really don't want anyone to be discriminated against for their sexual preference. I don't want to give anybody a same-sex marriage law. That's ridiculous. But at the same time, I don't want people to be discriminated for their personal sex. But he never presented himself as a gay man or a gay Muslim. He never presented himself as a person who believed in Allah as the one and only God, like his ring finger says that he wears. He wears a ring right here that says on it in Islamic. And don't buy the Snopes article that says, oh, that's just bunk, it's just a snake. They have a different ring than the ring he has. Plus, the ring's very noted. It's been looked at by experts in the field, and it's a common ring and an expression by all Muslim people that Allah is the one and only God, and he's wearing it on his ring finger. It really is the thing that he had on his ring finger when he apparently got married to this person, Michelle. Well, let's be clear. Right, here's the ring right here. That's the ring that's on his finger right now. Okay, I guess I am going to start this. All right, I'll be talking from this position in the room. Yeah, I didn't realize I was going to be hooking up my backup computer tonight. You can't see a snake. Well, you could see it if you could look closer. Yeah, maybe it's just we don't need 12 browsers open. I'm going to close my tabs. All right, maybe we can get somewhere in here if we can move around. There you go. Well, I can't move the ring. It's immutable now. It's like right in my face. So I can go over here, but I can't touch the screen. It's like, there it is, everybody. So there is a story about the ring finger that I'd love to share with you, but I don't really want to go into detail because it's actually the very thing I'm working on right now with the Blackface 2 video. There's going to be a lot of reveals in the Blackface 2 video, and it's done in total parody, but at the same time, it's raising some really pertinent question as to whether this guy, our president, is the guy we think he is. It's not Obama that's taken over, but you might as well call him Obama. He's actually a conglomerate of multinational corporations that control everything he says and does. I know, and we're stuck with him. And it's unlikely the Democrats will ever impeach him, especially considering that the Republicans couldn't even pass the Keystone Pipeline. I'm moving on to my backup system, and I'll be shifting gears in just a second. Otherwise, I have to stop the broadcast in order to gain control over the board. Yeah, everyone's having peaceful protests, exactly. You know, I don't believe that the riots in Ferguson are going to last very long. I really don't. I believe that the whole thing is just a lot of people pretending to create problems, and there's probably some people looting, no doubt about it. They're opportunists. They're looting right now. But this whole thing is probably outside influence. You know, during the protest rallies of the 1960s, many people don't know this. Okay, well, there's probably a guy or two with a Molotov cocktail working on the side, no doubt. This is a planned, choreographed media event, no different than the World Olympics. They're creating the crisis in Ferguson. It's going on right now. They could even be crisis actors. Absolutely. Guest 376, yeah. Arizona, dude, most of the people that are probably creating conflict in that region, at Ferguson, are probably from outside the region. You know, when the World Trade Center, when the WTO riots occurred in Seattle, the World Trade Organization had rioting going on. Most of the people that came in there who were anarchists were shipped in from Oregon. They actually arrived at a bus, anarchists, paid COINTELPRO, people that came in and tried to break people up.
Actually, I'm just going to wear your slippers.
Okay.
So that's okay with you.
No problem. Yeah, I'm going to have to hook up the backup camera because what has happened with the Shockwave thing, now it's doing it with another browser. Okay. Somebody said we need to update our flash. We'll do everything we can to clean this up, but we have been having a nonstop problem for the past week with Shockwave. Everywhere we turn, and we've seen it happening on the internet too. We're not the only ones having this problem.
Yeah.
Browsers are crashing. It's like somebody created a new thing in Shockwave that's sending a spike through all the browsers. That's what's happening. But we can still control the chat room. Bottom line is, the black counselors and community leaders are even worse than the thugs in the streets. No wonder they're all messed up. Yeah, there you have it.
Hi.
Okay, a policeman just said his rifle was stolen from the back of his police vehicle.
Whoa.
That's common. Yeah, especially considering they don't even have a lock on it. Yeah, this whole thing is probably going to foment into something and then just peter out. But if it starts to grow beyond Ferguson, you know it's definitely COINTELPRO, a technique the government uses to create conflict in the country, to defer other issues. Now, we've got a very bad economy right now. And I would be remiss in not addressing that tonight and talking about the dangers of the Federal Reserve and how it's really wasting tons and tons of money and bankrupting the American taxpayer and citizens of what we rightfully own as Americans. So we're gonna tackle that subject, and Sarah really is on the same page with that. She believes that all this money has been faked.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? the entire banking system was a good idea. It started out as basically a few rich guys that were trying to stop people from getting ripped off by the robber barons. And, or the people, or the thieves on the road.
Yeah, exactly.
So, there's some people that were rich in England, and there were people that were rich in France, and they're like, hey, why don't you we tell the people, like, if they pay you in England, they can come get it from me in France, and I'll still have plenty of money. And, next time I see you, I'll get back whatever, and we'll even out our books. Well, so we'll write down what people give us, and, and so then this guy in the middle, he goes in between us. He gives you some money, and I give it to him when he comes to France. And then he gives it to me while he's traveling back to England, and you give it to him when he gets to England. And that's how the first banking kind of thing started.
Yeah.
But that's what the whole Knights Templar thing was. But then it was like, hey, I can just give him a paper note saying,
you'll pay him back.
You owe him money.
Promissory note or debt.
Promissory notes. And then you said, well, do you really have to get all this gold? I'll just make you a promissory note saying you'll get it from me.
Yeah.
And so then they started trading paper, promissory notes, and then, they got this idea of like, oh, it'll all be paper rather than real gold and real silver, and voila, we have our banking system.
It's a fabulous fractional reserve banking system, and it's all being managed at the top by a private organization called the Federal Reserve. They're a quasi-governmental agency in that they work side by side with government officials at the Treasury, but they are in no way a government agency. They are part of a private group of people that are doing everything they can to control the monetary flow and keep it going to the rich people and not to the average Americans. You'll notice not $1 of TARP 1 or TARP 2 or QE2, QE3, quantitative easing 3, not $1 went to a U.S. citizen unless they were working at a bank and they were the CEO. That's the only problem here. And how can you stimulate growth in our private sector when no businesses are able to get any money?
So, Electric Paisley, I'll answer some of your questions. One, we believe in the legalization of marijuana, even though I don't smoke, I don't toke, and I won't, even if it were legalized. But you can do whatever you want with your body. And then, two, as far as marriage goes, why should the government be involved in anyone's personal relationships?
Right.
I believe that you should be able to go get all those legal documents, not a marriage certificate, but all the legal documents who you want to make your decisions for when you get sick, called an advance directive. Your will, your, if you buy a house together, both of you should sign on the title. If you have a child, both people should sign on a birth certificate. Those are all binding legal contracts. Why should we have a marriage certificate for anyone, regardless of their orientation? Now, when it comes to, people being discriminated against because of their certain orientation, I don't think that should happen at all. But I don't believe in a marriage licenses for anyone. That's just my own personal opinion.
I agree.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Coming up at 7:50, the puppet Attorney General makes a generic statement. We're waiting, bated breath, Topper Dan. We're waiting with bated breath to hear the typical nonsensical.
What are we waiting for?
Well, at 7:50, there's somebody with Attorney General is making a statement. Okay, we are going to drop off the show, and in the process, we're going to start up the show instantly.
We're going to drop off of this camera, and then we'll start on another one.
Yeah,
All right.
and we're going to try to set our browsers up. Okay, thank you.